Welcome to On the Bit. I'm Dave from Dream Thoroughbreds, and with me is Lenny from Bluegrass Bloodstock. How are you, Lenny?
Good, Dave.
That's good, mate. It's the last weekend of the Sydney Autumn Carnival this weekend, and so far it's been a pretty tremendous success for the revamped carnival in Sydney. And there's two Group 1s left this weekend at Randwick. So first, mate, we have the Group 1 Champagne Stakes for 2-year-olds over 1,600 metres, and the third leg of the 2-year-old Triple Crown, mate. And who do you like in the Champagne?
I like the Melbourne horse, Dave, Verbalicious.
Yeah. Won well last start?
Won very well. Put pay to rivals last start over the mile, so she's staying at the mile again. I think most importantly she gets 2 kilos off the horses, which beat her 2 starts back in the Bailou, which I think is going to be very important in this race. I think she maps really well, and looks like she'll get a lovely run from the barrier, and I think she'll take some beating. I think a few of the leading hopes are going to really be disadvantaged by that really heavy track in the size, so you know that might prove advantageous for her.
Well, I did think that heavy track was going to disadvantage, but a lot of them bounced back last week, so I've actually sort of not really held that against them. But I sort of looked at this race a few times, but I just thought Peggy Jean was so impressive in the size, and I really think the key to her was that she missed the run in the Gold Slipper, and they really saved her for these 2 races. So I think a couple of her rivals didn't really handle the wet conditions last start and probably improved with the drier track. But I just think the way she sprinted up and put herself into the race last start showed that she's just got that touch of class. Yeah. And I expect her to show that class again this week and be too classy for her opposition over the last 200 of the Champagne. I think a horse to beat is that the one she beat last start, Scratch Me Lucky, and he looks like he'll get a beautiful run in the race on the speed map, 1 out, 1 back, so he'll be the testing material again. He's actually $11 fixed odds, so really from an odds perspective, I thought he was great each way odds, so I wouldn't let him go around naked either. But on class, I just think Peggy Jean will just have a little bit of that class edge on them, and at $2.90 fixed, I thought she was on the bit. The final Group 1 for the autumn, mate, is the Weight for Age All-Age Stakes over 1,400 metres. And who do you like in the All-Age, mate?
Oh, Dave, I don't like this race at all. It's really tough. My selection, without any confidence, is Tiger Tease.
Yep.
I think he's just racing really well at the moment. He was close up behind a superstar in Lincoln Rupine, TJ Smith. I think there's 3 horses that'll be going forward in this race, and he's one of them, but I think he's drawn well. He's got Hugh Bowman on him. $13, I think he's a good each way bet, so Tiger Tease for me. Yeah,
I suppose there was no doubt Rebel Dane was the eye-catching run in the TJ last start. Just not sure where he'll get in the run this week, so I'm shying away from him at the $2.50 price. I thought it was a bit tight. I thought the run of Weary in the Doncaster for 3rd was enormous. He was equally as impressive as the winner Sacred Falls and Royal Descent. He was actually wide all the way in that run. And Sacred Falls came out and ran a really good race against It's a Done Deal, so it's really stamped that form. It was wide all the way in the Doncaster, really had every excuse to wilt in the run, and he made his sprint with Royal Descent down the outside, and for a minute there he looked like he was going to be right in it. It was only the last 200 metres of that race that the harder run took its toll, but he still finished well ahead of the field. So I actually thought, well, it's interesting that actually Chris Waller has only elected to run him in the All-Aged as well, the only one he's backing up. So I think the 1,400 is probably going to be suitable. He did run 4th to Moonlight Cloud in France over 1,400. And she's probably the best mare in the world outside of Black Caviar, so the international form lines are very strong. The only negative is the weight for age. He goes up to 59 from he was on a low weight in the Doncaster, but I expect because of Tiger Tease and a few others, going to be solid tempo in this race. He's got Tommy Berry on board again, and who was on fire last week as well. I just thought he was a bit of value rather than the favourite at $6 each way, so he was on the bit for mine. Stable news, Lenny. Any stable news this week?
We just got the Vobis sales on at the moment, Dave, so that's just sort of kept me busy at the moment.
Inglis down at Oaklands? Yeah, it starts this Sunday.
Starts this Sunday,
so. Yeah, we haven't got that much. We had a couple trial this morning. Charles and Charge went around this morning in a trial. Very soft trial. And he's set to race. He's ready to race, and he's set to race Wednesday week at Sandown. So it'd be good to see him back for all of his owners. And Nina, our Fastnet Rock 2-year-old filly, she had her second trial this morning and she won it actually at Flemington this morning, so she was revved up a little bit more. Again, she wasn't really pushed out, but she was pushed out enough to really get her fit for the races, and she set the debut at Mornington Tuesday week. So a little bit of action coming up in a week's time.
Sure.
Best on breeding, Lenny. Who's your best on breeding for this week, mate?
Best on breeding's race 2, number 3, Neudart, Dave. By the champion side, More Than Ready, who's side many champions, including More Joyous. Neudart's out of Regal Cheer, who's a gun race mare in her own right, winning the Coolmore. And her dam was Regal Chamber, was a Group 2 winner also. The More Than Ready Danehill Cross, with Danehill being on the female side, produced 25 stakes winners, so it's got a pretty healthy VGS of 8. So yeah, no, it's really good cross. Yeah,
absolutely. It looks hard to beat in that race. I got one value bet for the weekend. Morphettville race 7, number 4, A Time for Julia. Very even race this Sangster. It's a Group 1 in Adelaide this weekend. There's a couple of Group 1s in Adelaide. Yeah. It's an even race and lots of form lines coming together from all over the place. But I thought this mare looked actually quite well suited in this race. She ran a super race last start in the Coolmore, which is a Group 1 mares race and probably the strongest Group 1 mares race in Australia. She comes here off a 5-week break, fresh back to the 1200. And I think the 1200 is actually her best distance. So I think she'll be sitting off the pace, and I think she'll finish very hard. She came up $10 fixed odds. I just thought it was very good value in a race which probably has lots of chances, but at $10 I really like her form lines coming into the race. On the bit specials, Lenny, our last edition. This is our last edition of On the Bit for the autumn. So we're going to go out with a bang, mate. Who are you labelling your On the Bit special, mate?
I think you may have labelled it an On the Bit special. It's first up, mate.
Yeah, I think
that's Flemington race 1, number 3, Hillspy, and it was a huge run first up.
Yeah, well, probably should have won it.
Yeah, should have won well back at Moonee Valley. I think this horse has got his fair share of ability, and off his first up run, he's obviously come back pretty good.
Yeah.
And he had the flashing light on him. He gets to Flemington here at 1,000. There's plenty of speed in this race. Settle back, and I think he'll just run all over the top of him. And I think it's a great price at the $5.
$5 sounds like a good price to me. I'm on the bit with Morphettville race 6, number 2, Girl in Flight, another one of the Group 1s over there. I've changed tack here, mate, because I'm a big fan of May's Dream. Yeah. But I just thought that Girl in Flight beat her last start, and I just didn't really think there was any excuses for May's Dream. So I can't see. She's pretty much meeting the same field she beat last start. Slightly worse off with the weights, but I thought she was actually better suited to the step up to the 2000. I just thought she'd maybe be too strong for them. She's sharp enough to sprint and be too strong for them over the last 200. I expected her to win again, and she was $4.20 fixed. I thought it was great value too. So I just think she's on the bid as well. Off the bit, Lenny, who are you laying for the last edition in autumn? Who are we laying for the weekend, mate?
The all-age stakes, a race I hate.
Yeah.
Race 6, number 4, Rebel Dane, Dave. Ran an absolute bottler first up.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
But he was first up, and it was one of the heaviest tracks that some of the jockeys reckon they've ridden on. So that's got to take something out of him first up.
Yeah.
And he's a gun first up, but his second up form's not as good. So if that's flattened him a little bit, well, you know, he's going to be a risk, and at about the 250, 280 that's on offer, I'd be leaving that alone for mine.
Yeah, I agree with you. His first up form is excellent, and his second up form, he's 1 second up, but he does go really well first up, so maybe he's a little bit under the odds. I'm off the bit with one at Randwick as well in race 4, number 9, Arabian Gold. I really loved this filly last start. I thought she was the winner of the race, which she did win. She won well against the fillies, but it was a heavy track, and that's her favourite going. She seems to really love the heavy track. She trialled well before that race. This week she's back against the males, and she's on a dead track, and she came up $3 favourite in this race, and I reckon there's a couple of really progressive colts and geldings in this race, so I think she'll find she'll be hard pressed to win this week, so she's off the bit for mine. So that's it for us this week and for the autumn, as I said. No more Group 1s or Melbourne and Sydney, so we'll take a break through the winter and we'll see you back for the spring. Good luck.
Cheers, guys.